All of the Florida Panthers' recent success starts with the man in the suit on the right because he hired this man who changed Florida Panthers culture that started bringing in and attracting players that made teams like this that have now won back-to-back Stanley Cup titles and 3 trips in a row to the Stanley Cup Finals as well as the President's Trophy. Guys, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Panthers Digest. I'm your host, Greg Andrews. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. It just takes 2 seconds, guys, because you need to stay up to date with anything and everything that has to do with your back-to-back Stanley Cup champion, Florida Panthers. Man, I love saying that. And I've got a goal of getting to 3,000 subscribers. We're almost there. I'm just over 100 away. I would love all your support. So guys, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. This is a different episode. I'm actually not going to be focusing on the players. I'm really going to be focusing on GM Bill Zito. But we're going to start really quickly by touching on probably the most important person, because if it wasn't for him, none of the success the Panthers are having right now would have ever happened had he not made the decision to hire Bill Zito to come in and be the GM of the Florida Panthers. And it starts with this man. For some of you who don't know who that is and can't put a face, I can't put a name to that face right now. Well, that's Vincent Viola. He is the owner of the Florida Panthers. He is the man that hired and brought in GM Bill Zito, did part of the interview process, all of that. He is why GM Bill Zito is here. He literally, I am not kidding you when I say this, said to GM Bill Zito when he got hired, here are the keys to the car. Do whatever you want. Make this team a winning team. Let's go. Work your magic. Do your thing. Literally handed him the keys. Go. And that's exactly what Bill Zito has done. He took this franchise, completely changed the culture. For those of you who watched the Pat McAfee show and actually saw his interview with Pat McAfee's interview with Bill Zito said, part of my interview process was discussing how the culture needs to change, how I wanted to make this about, it's an attractive city, not because of there's no state tax, but because there's a beautiful facility to play in. We're building a winning culture. This is about that. This is about having fun again in the sport of hockey and working your butt off, but having it pay off where you can have the downtime, having that camaraderie, the companionship as a team and coming together and playing as one. It's not about being an individual on this team. It's about the team. There is no selfish human being that plays on this roster. They are all selfless players. There's a reason why there isn't a 60 goal scorer or 50 goal scorer on this team this year. Yes, I know Sam Reinhart did that the previous season, but still, selfless players. That is why they've won back-to-back Stanley Cup titles. But it starts with this man because he hired GM Bill Zito. And when asked about this is what Bill Zito had to say about the Viola family. I love this quote. He said, "I think the most important thing to us is attracting players. And the players have this understanding about how much we've been empowered by ownership to try to do the right things. And it can't be overstated what the Viola family has done for us to allow us to implement. We need a new practice facility. Okay, here you go." And well, here you go. Baptist Health Iceplex, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who do not know it, this is the new site, I should say, for the Panthers practice facility. It is absolutely spectacular. I have been there. This is actually a revamped 1950s war memorial. It is in Fort Lauderdale. It was built in 1950. They remodeled it, put in 2 sheets of ice. You can see one closest to us. That is the actual Panthers side where they practice. The opposite side is where the visiting teams will usually do their practicing. There is a restaurant. There is also a gigantic memorabilia store. There is also a place where they can actually host concerts and stuff like that. So it's a tremendous place. There's also 1,000 seats in the practice facility so spectators can watch the Panthers practice. But this was a $65 million renovation that they did on this war memorial that was built in 1950. So the Viola family did not care what the cost was. And you can see there, this is where the Panthers are actually practice. Like I said, I've been there. It is absolutely breathtaking. And I've skated on that ice and it's a lot of fun. But the Viola family, they don't care. Like I said, the price tag on this was originally $65 million. It actually went well over budget and they didn't care. They will do anything because they want the city to enjoy using this because, yes, you can actually go skate on that ice. It is open to the public on specific days when the Panthers do not practice. But again, I'm not trying to do a little push here for the Baptist Health Iceplex, excuse me. But this is just for me to show you the Viola family. It starts with them by there is no dollar amount that they are not willing to spend to have a winning franchise, to turn things around, and they've done just that. So now, as we're getting back to discussing Bill Zito, well, he's done a tremendous thing, and it started with Matthew Tkachuk. But before I get into that, because again, the Matthew Tkachuk trade really triggered the change in the culture, the mentality of what the team is going to be having moving forward. But I just want to tell you a couple of things about Bill Zito. Why is he so good at what he does? Well, because winning just seems to follow him wherever he goes. He knows what he is doing because he's learned over the years. He went and graduated to Yale. He played 3 years in Division One men's hockey with the Bulldogs there. He did 1 year professionally in Europe and played hockey. Came back, got his law degree from University of Wisconsin, and he actually founded the Acme World Sports, founded and built Acme World Sports, in 1995, and it's a world-renowned talent agency for hockey players. He's represented Vezina Trophy winners like Tim Thomas, Tuukka Rask, Antti Niemi. I know he never won it, but Selke Award winner John Madden and several other big name players. So he knows the game of hockey. He knows the players, and he's just built things up from there. On the international stage, he was the GM for Team USA in the 2018 IIHF World Championship, where they captured the bronze medal. His first season when he was with the Lake Erie Monsters, that is actually Columbus's, the Blue Jackets, their American Hockey League affiliate. He was their GM back in 2015-2016. And then his first season there, they posted a franchise record 97 points in the regular season, and they won their first ever Calder Cup. And they produced a 15-2 record in the playoffs, which is a record for a team in 4 rounds in AHL history, guys. So he knows how to win. And he was in the Columbus Blue Jackets front office. From 2013 to 2020, he was first the assistant GM for 6 seasons. Then he was promoted, became the vice president of hockey operations, the associate general manager, alternate governor. So he's had several different positions there, and he kind of learned the ropes about how an organization is run, how to find the players. And one of the things I need you guys to understand is the Columbus Blue Jackets had 1 trip to the playoffs before Bill Zito got to that organization. Once he was there, so that was in 2008, 2009, they had 5 appearances in the playoffs. Yeah, I know they didn't make it that far, but for an organization that had never really tasted the playoffs at all before Bill Zito got there, they had 5 times. They weren't all in a row. They had 4 years in a row, but they had 5 appearances in total since Bill Zito got there in 2013 and then left in 2020 and came here to the Florida Panthers. One of the other things that he has done as well, he created a program for all of the goalies in the Panthers system, and it's called the Goaltending Excellence Department. It's a first of its kind, one of a kind system, and Roberto Luongo runs it. He's the special advisor to the GM. That is why our goaltenders have had such success, from Bobrovsky to the backups to Spencer Knight. It's been wonderful what he has done as a GM. So now we're going to keep moving forward. Like I said, everything in 2020 when he got here changed for the Florida Panthers. They ended up changing their culture. And that is one of the biggest reasons why they've had success. And like I said, it started with Matthew Tkachuk. And if you look at his numbers throughout his career, he had that one tremendous season before he came here. Well, technically two. In 2018, 2019, he had a 77-point season. Following year, 43 points. The following year after that, 104. And that's when the Florida Panthers decided to trade for him. And he had a tremendous season here at 109 points in his first season as a Florida Panther. But that was, just tremendous what he's done. And I know what he had to give up, guys. I get it. And the reason why he made this trade is because we were losing to the Lightning so frequently. 2 years in a row, especially in 2022, when the Panthers were swept. That's when Bill Zito went to Vincent Viola and said, this is not enough. We have to do more. We've got to get guys on here and win now. So he traded Huberdeau, who was a 115-point scorer. People thought it was crazy. I've said this in an episode from a couple weeks ago. He also traded away Mackenzie Weegar as well, but he picked up Matthew Tkachuk. And that's when the dynamic of this team changed. That's when they became this more physical, harder team that's going to wear their opponents down, and that's what they've done. Everybody says, oh, they're dirty, they're dirty. They're not dirty, guys. Think what you want. I'm sorry that your team has lost to the Florida Panthers. I'm sorry that your team doesn't play up to the standard of what the Panthers do, and they're not as physical and this and that. The game of hockey, some of the best teams that have ever played, and I've touched on this in past episodes, were the most physical teams in the league. That's why they had success. Hockey's a physical game. If you're going to tiptoe around things and not be physical, you're not going to win Stanley Cups. You're not. You've got to play hard-nosed. You've got to bash each other. And you got to stick up for one another. And Matthew Tkachuk does that. That's why he came here, was to help reinvigorate this team and change the mental edge that they need to have, which is that physical and mental toughness. And that's exactly what he did. And then they brought in this man to make sure that the whole team can start working together. Again, these are moves by Bill Zito. Bill Zito was the one who said, you know what? We're going to get Andrew Brunette out and we're going to bring in Paul Maurice, because Paul Maurice is the man that's going to get the team to play right. Figure out the style of hockey that's going to work best for them. Paul Maurice is the guy that's going to get this team to come together and they're going to win. So far, he has not been wrong in any decision that he has made. I know they had a little bit of trouble in 2022, 2023 at the tail end, and they got into the playoffs, barely. In 2023, there was twice when they played the Boston Bruins that they were almost out of the playoffs by just one goal. But still, they've beaten the best team in the history of hockey in terms of point totals for a season in the Boston Bruins. President Trophy winning Boston Bruins, excuse me. So what Bill Zito is doing is working. And we're going to keep moving forward here, guys. So then he brings in guys like this. Might not be the biggest, most solid performers on the teams that they were on initially, but Bill Zito, the other thing that he does so well, he can eye talent from a mile away. Professional and amateur. He knows how to draft players. He knows how to, he knows how to draft them. He knows how to condition these guys. He knows how to work on them so they can improve and they can grow in the Panthers system. Guys that need a kick in the butt to get their career back on path. I mean, most of the players that have come here, free agents or in trades, have improved their careers or have not had career years or reinvigorated themselves, became a free agent, left, and got paid. And they're playing great hockey somewhere else. Some are, some aren't. But still, in the Panthers organization, majority of the time when these guys are here, they are playing the best hockey of their careers, if not the best. Darn close to it, guys. Darn close. So, again, Bill Zito was making moves and doing what he wanted to do. Exactly what owner Vincent Viola told him to do. Just go ahead, do what you got to do. Let's get a winning roster here. And it's exactly what he's done. And then he got this guy, Sam Reinhart, traded for him. Not the craziest numbers that he put up when he was on Buffalo. But there was something that spoke to him that said, this guy has a lot of talent. He's got something to prove. He just needs to be on a team where his role is right for what he needs to do, for the talent that he has. And look at the numbers. Look at his numbers. First year as a Florida Panther, 82 points, then 67, 94, 81. He's become a goal scorer, guys. Compare all of the years in Buffalo. He wasn't being used the right way, and now he is. Let's keep going. I don't think you guys can recognize who that guy is. This, I think, was the most incredible signing of them all, because he was found on waivers. He was claimed off of waivers. That's Gustav Forsling. The dirtiest, nastiest steal that GM Bill Zito ended up getting was Gustav Forsling being claimed off of waivers and then signing him to a ridiculously good deal for the Panthers. 8 years, $46 million. That's $5.75 million per year. And he's one of the best defensemen in the league. One of the, probably if not the best defenseman on the Florida Panthers. I mean, it could be arguable. We'll see what happens with Seth Jones, because he's pretty darn good too. But he was the biggest steal, I think, for the Florida Panthers, and the biggest move that GM Bill Zito has really pulled off. I mean, Tkachuk is number one, but this, off of waivers, has played out for the Panthers in spades. It has paid off in spades. And he's just getting better, too. I mean, he's always been up in the top of the league with plus minus, so his defensive capabilities are just spectacular. I know his numbers aren't jumping off the page at people, but look at his improvement since he's been here. He's put up really solid numbers for a defenseman. Really solid. Everybody has seen his back checking, his forechecking, just the way that he plays defense. How many times has he stopped some of the elite shooters in the NHL, especially this past year in the playoffs? Connor McDavid, Nikita Kucherov, Tavares, Matthews. All of these guys, Forsling has gone up against, and he's shut them down. One of the best out there, one of the best pickups by GM Bill Zito. So what I'm trying to say here is, by letting GM Bill Zito, and I keep saying his full name, I've got to stop doing that. Zito, he knew what he was able to do. I'm talking about Vincent Viola. He knew that Bill Zito was going to be able to make this a championship team because he knew the pedigree that Bill Zito had. The genius that he was, his eye for talent, his ability to talk to the players. Watch the interviews, guys, that Bill Zito does and how he speaks about hockey and the culture down here. And there's another thing I'm going to show you, because you guys will be like, well, you know, they've got no state tax. Stop your bitching and moaning. I'm going to tell you this right now. That is such a BS statement to make. There's a reason why. There's a reason why. During the NHL Finals, Biz got shut down by Bateman. It's because he said to him, he was saying, oh, the state tax. And he stopped him. He's like, stop. No, I'm not going to hear this, because nobody was complaining about the Lightning or the Panthers when they were not good. Everybody starts to complain about teams when they start to win and they start to have success. GM Bill Zito, I'm going to keep saying GM Bill Zito because he's also now, in 2024, he's also the president of hockey operations. He also has that title now. So president of hockey operations as well as GM. He is just better than everybody else right now. There's a reason why guys are staying. There's a reason why all three of their big name free agents stayed in Florida. It's because they knew what they wanted, even though Bill Zito says I'm not taking credit for this. The guys wanted to stay. They love playing together. You know, they didn't want to break up anything. This was on them. They were the reason why they stayed together. It had nothing to do with me. Still, he's the reason why Brad Marchand is here. He's the reason why Seth Jones is here. I'm going to name a bunch of other guys. Sergei Bobrovsky's not one of those guys. I hate to tell you, sorry. Dale Talon is the one who picked him up. And when they signed him, originally, you know, they think the contract was terrible. It's working out pretty good now, huh, people? Even though you thought it was a nuts contract at $10 million a year. It's paying off in spades now. But he signed Carter Verhaeghe. Zito signed Carter Verhaeghe to a 1-year deal in 2020. Found his reputation as a solid goal scorer in the playoffs and signed him to a long-term deal. He also brought in other players like Ryan Lombard, Nick Cousins, Nico Mikula, who is still here, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, Dmitry Kulikov, who's still here, Anthony Stolars, Kevin Stenlund, and Evan Rodriguez, who is still here, and I hope he remains. There's other guys that want to be better, will play for less because they know this organization will help them, and help them they did. Guys like AJ Greer, Jesper Bovequist, Thomas Nosek. And they're all still here. Nate Schmidt, who's not, unfortunately, here. But this team has just gotten so much better over the years because of what Bill Zito's been able to do. There's no denying that. And the owners just sat back and said, whatever you need from us financially, we will take care of it. And again, this is one of the things I really wanted to show you guys, is this awesome quote by Bill Zito again. This one I love because he's talking about the culture here and then bringing in players. And this is why I was telling you guys, stop bitching and moaning about the state tax. That's not the reason why players come to South Florida to play hockey anymore. Never have they ever come down here because, oh, well, you know what? I'm just going to go play for the Panthers because I can make more money down there. No, it's about winning. The winning culture here. The camaraderie that the team has. The ability for them to hold each other up, to stick up for one another. Like I said, be a team. They are the epitome of what team hockey is. And this is GM Bill Zito talking about all this stuff. He says, I'll point to Paul and the coaching staff in that room. Players know, I'm not going to go over each one, but so many players who have come to us have had career years. And it's a function of the coaches in that room. Players from the outside think that the tax thing is marginal at best. And I think the real reasons are that we're trying to figure out a way to do our best to try to win. To try to win. That's why Brad Marchand is staying and signed here. That's the reason why Sam Bennett said he's not going anywhere. That's the reason why Aaron Ekblad signed for less money. Because they want to win. It is about Stanley Cups. It's not about the dollar bills in their pockets. So everybody who's crying about this, it is not about state tax or no state tax. It has nothing to do with that. Our GM is just better than yours. I'm sorry that our team just plays a more physical style of hockey than yours. You could call. I've had people comment, say, oh, yeah, well, Marchand, Bennett, and Tkachuk, well, they're just dirty and they're annoying. And this, any team who is winning and playing a physical style of hockey is exactly that. And there's a reason why the Panthers are winning. For all of you who are crying foul and saying, well, you know, well, with what happens with Tkachuk, if he has surgery, he'll be on the long-term injury reserve. Oh, just coincidentally, and they'll be able to get this. It's in the rules, guys. The collective bargaining agreement has it in there. If a player is injured and goes on long-term injury reserve, you can pick up a player to take his place until he comes back. It's pretty much layman's terms, that's it. I know there's more to it, but still, that's how it ideally works. That's why they were able to get Brad Marchand when Matthew Tkachuk was placed on long-term injury reserve. That's why they were able to get Seth Jones. Because their key player who makes $9.5 million a year AAV was out. That frees up the cap space to do that. It doesn't free it up, essentially. It allows you to go over the cap limit by that specific dollar amount. So I just want you guys to understand something. Our GM just has this incredible way of thinking, of finding talent, getting guys to come here, making these unbelievable trades. Again, there was a lot of risk in bringing Brad Marchand here, but the reward was so much higher. Even though he had surgeries and all these different things, there's a lot of question marks. But Bill Zito knew something that everybody else didn't. How hard Brad Marchand works, his ability to come back from injury, his ability to work his ass off and be wanting to be better and not have an injury hold him back. That's why he signed on for 6 more years, which I don't think he's going to play all 6 years. But there's a reason why he is signed to stay here that long. There's a reason why all these guys want to stay. And there's a reason why Bill Zito's not saying, I'm going to go out and trade for Pasternak. I know I made a video about this several weeks ago, but yeah, all that stuff, that's not happening. That's not going to happen. But there's a reason why. It's not about selfish players. It's not about one incredibly talented best player in the world coming to your team to take $13-14 million a year. No, this is about selfless players who play as a team that want to win together and they want to build something together and they want to be known as a dynasty. They want to be known as some of the greatest teams to ever play since the salary cap era began. Think about that, guys. How many teams have won 3 in a row? 3 Stanley Cups in a row since the salary cap era began. The Panthers have the chance to do something that no other team has done since it started. Can they pull it off? They still have another probably 3 to 5 years. I know there's 10 players that have signed for 5 or more years. I'm going to say 3 to 5 years until they start probably breaking up the band. Guys might start retiring. Things are going to happen, injuries, whatnot. A lot of things that we cannot foresee will happen. But 3 to 5 years, this is going to be a dynasty, guys. I'm not saying they're going to win every year, but I'm saying they're going to make deep runs in the playoffs. I wouldn't be shocked if we see them go to the Stanley Cup Finals for the next 2 or 3 years in a row. Crazier things have happened, everybody. But anyways, so that is what Bill Zito has been able to do since he's been here. Made all of these trades, picked up all of these big name, not big name guys, but these smaller named unrestricted free agents, trading for guys who people were like, I don't know who this player is, but he sees things that other GMs don't see in these players. He has this uncanny ability to find the talent, bring them here, and make them better. He's proven that in his 5 years as GM of the Florida Panthers. And in Zito, we trust as Panthers Nation. Zito, we trust you, man. Just keep doing what you're doing because you literally just pulled off the impossible. The impossible after the Stanley Cup was won. Bringing back all 3 of our unrestricted free agents, the big guys. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Panthers Digest. It was a pleasure. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. I'm so close to 3,000, guys. Help me get there. I really do appreciate your support. But anyways, tune in next time. I'll have another video coming out in the next day or two. Again, enjoy your week. Happy Monday to all. And I will talk to you guys next time on Panthers Digest. See you then. Go Panthers.